We all know the world of crypto is built on this incredible promise of innovation and a decentralized future. But what you don't always see is the invisible hand at work behind the scenes, these unseen forces that are constantly manipulating prices, faking activity, and, let's be honest, deceiving investors. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We'll reveal exactly how these schemes work, who gets hurt, and what's finally being done to stop them.
Okay, just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about here, look at this number, $7.78 billion. According to TRM Labs, that's how much money was sent to just Ponzi and pyramid schemes in a single year. And that's just one slice of a much, much bigger and more complicated manipulation pie.
We're going to start with the high-tech illusions, the kind of tactics that actually use code to manufacture a completely false reality. And look, we're not just talking about some simple bots here. This is about creating a total mirage of market activity that can fool even the most sophisticated traders out there.
So, first up, we've got this classic trick called spoofing. Imagine this. A trader places a massive buy order for a token. All the other traders and, more importantly, their algorithms see this huge wall of demand. They think, wow, the price is about to skyrocket, so they start buying in. But then, just a split second before their orders execute, that original huge order, poof, it vanishes. It was never real. It was just a ghost in the code designed to trick everyone else into making a move that only benefits the manipulator. And this, right here, shows you exactly how it works. On the left, you've got a normal, healthy order book. But on the right, that's the spoofer's handiwork. A giant phantom wall of orders appears out of nowhere, it lures in its victims, and then it just disappears without a trace. It's exactly like a phantom bidder at an auction, showing up just to artificially drive up the price before vanishing into thin air. Then you've got another common tactic, wash trading. This is where a manipulator is, get this, literally trading with themselves. They're buying and selling the same exact asset over and over and over again. Now, why would they do that? Simple, to create the illusion of massive trading volume. It makes a token look way more popular and liquid than it actually is. It's kind of like playing a game of chess against yourself just to make people think there's a huge, exciting match going on.
And you might be thinking, is this really happening? Oh yeah. The SEC found that one firm, ZM Quant, was actually offering manipulation as a service with bots that generated quadrillions of fake transactions. I'm going to say that again, quadrillions. That's not a typo. We're talking about automated industrial-scale market manipulation.
Okay, but it's not all just about fancy code, right? Manipulation is also about psychology. This next set of tactics, they exploit one of the most powerful emotions in all of investing, that fear of missing out. You know it as FOMO.
And this brings us to the classic pump and dump scheme. You can basically think of it like a three-act play. Act 1, insiders quietly accumulate a ton of a cheap, obscure token. Act 2, the hype machine kicks in. You see coordinated posts on social media, paid influencer promotions, crazy promises of getting rich overnight. Then, Act 3. Once all the new buyers have driven the price to the moon, the insiders dump everything they have, the price crashes to zero, and they walk away with the profits.
And the fallout from this stuff? It can be absolutely devastating for regular people. I mean, just look at the Save the Kids token. It was heavily promoted by major influencers, they were promising to donate to charity, but right after it launched, the price tanked by over 90%. Many alleged it was a classic pump and dump from the very beginning, leaving countless everyday investors holding worthless bags.
So, okay, with all this crazy manipulation going on, you have to wonder, how do we even begin to catch these guys? Well, that brings us to this new frontier of digital forensics. It's become a high-tech game of cat and mouse, and it's all being played out right on the blockchain.
Here's the thing you've got to remember. Every single transaction, even from these so-called anonymous wallets, leaves a permanent digital footprint. So now investigators can perform what's called behavioral analysis. By studying a wallet's patterns, when it trades, what it trades, who it trades with, they can create a unique fingerprint that can reveal if it's part of a botnet or some coordinated manipulation scheme.
See, instead of getting lost looking at one transaction at a time, analysts use something called graph analysis to see the entire network. All of a sudden, what just looked like a bunch of random noise, it turns into a crystal clear map showing how money is flowing between all these different wallets. It reveals the hidden architecture of these criminal operations.
And one of the classic patterns they're always hunting for is called the scatter-gather. A bad actor will send stolen funds from one wallet to, say, 100 other wallets. That's the scatter. Then, a little while later, all of those wallets will send the funds to one final wallet. That's the gather.
It's a classic money laundering technique, but with graph analysis, this whole complex web just lights up like a Christmas tree for investigators.
You know, for the longest time, it felt like regulators were just sitting on the sidelines trying to figure all this out. Well, that's changing. Big time. Now they're starting to bring down the hammer with some major enforcement actions all around the world.
Over in the US, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, is really starting to get aggressive. They recently won a $46 million judgment against a fraudulent crypto mining operation, and they're actively going after and charging those companies that offer manipulation as a service.
All right, now let's dive into one of the wildest cases I've ever seen, one that really pushed the boundaries of what we even consider market manipulation, the $100 million Mango Markets heist.
Basically, a trader named Abraham Eisenberg found a loophole in this decentralized exchange. He started making these huge trades that completely fooled the system's algorithm into thinking his assets were worth way more than they actually were. And because the system thought his collateral was so valuable, its own automated rules let him borrow and then withdraw over $100 million of other people's money.
And this is where things get really interesting. Eisenberg himself claimed it wasn't theft. He called it a highly profitable trading strategy and said he was just using the system's rules as they were written. So that sparked this huge debate. Was he a genius who just outsmarted the code, or was he a criminal who committed straight-up fraud?
Well, the courts had a pretty clear answer. A federal jury found him guilty on all counts: fraud, manipulation, the whole shebang. It sent a massive signal to the entire space. Just because you can exploit a system's rules doesn't make it legal. Deceptive intent is still a federal crime.
And hey, this isn't just a US thing. Over in Europe, they're rolling out this huge regulation called MiCA, which stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. This thing creates a single unified set of rules for the entire continent, with massive fines for market abuse and the power to completely revoke a company's license to operate.
Okay, so we've seen all the scary stuff. The ghosts in the code, the social media hype. The big question is, what can you do to protect yourself? Well, at the end of the day, it really comes down to being a smarter and, frankly, more skeptical investor.
So let's break it down. Here are a few key things to always keep in mind. Number one, if it sounds too good to be true, like some guaranteed high return, it is. Always. Number two, do your own research on the project's fundamentals. Don't just look at the price chart. Number three, always remember that huge trading volume can be faked, so it's not always the green flag you think it is. And finally, if a token's price just suddenly goes vertical with no real news behind it, be careful. You might just be watching the pump happen right before the dump.
So where does this all go from here? Well, the fight for a fair market is basically turning into a full-blown tech arms race. Regulators and exchanges, they aren't just using old-school methods anymore. They're deploying AI, machine learning, and really advanced analytics to try and spot and shut down this manipulation in real time. But that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question. The manipulators are getting smarter, too. They're already starting to use their own AI to cover their tracks and find new ways to exploit the system. So in this constant, evolving battle between deception and detection, can the digital detectives actually keep up? The future of fair markets really depends on the answer.